Hey, I'm starting a vlog today. Today is Saturday and I'm going to the beach. My mom's birthday's tomorrow, so I'm going to the beach with my parents today. And I'm going to show you what I'm bringing to read. So I started reading Sula by Toni Morrison. This cover, I'm literally obsessed with this book cover. It's one of my favorite book covers. Sula is about two black women who kind of grow up together in a very small town in Ohio, and we basically follow their journey and their relationship through the years. But I'm only on page 40, so I haven't gotten that far. Toni Morrison has just been setting the groundwork for the characters and the setting of the place, of the town, and I'm really enjoying this book so far. I've had this book for a minute. I want to say for like 2 years on my shelf, which is crazy. And I decided to pick it up after reading Happy Hour. Actually ended up DNFing Happy Hour because I wasn't a fan of it. I just found it to be a little too unrealistic in my opinion, and I found that I was like starting to roll my eyes a little bit. There was a lack of substance for me, and now I need a book that has like some emotional depth to it. That's just how I am. So Sula seems to be that book for me. Where I am in the story right now is Toni Morrison has introduced Nell, which is Sula's friend that we're gonna follow as well, her mother and her upbringing, as well as Sula's upbringing, and just basically how the two families are different, as well as the town that they live in. This is set in the late 1910s to 1920s. So obviously during that time, like, black people were segregated in America from white society. But I will say Toni Morrison, obviously it's Toni Morrison, an amazing writer. The writing is just so engaging. Like, I'm finally getting lost again in the writing and just really enjoying it and not paying attention to what page number I am. And I'm also going to take the selected poems of Gwendolyn Brooks. And I've been leafing through this poetry collection for a while, honestly, but my favorite poem in here so far is on page 8, and it's called The Preacher Ruminates Behind the Sermon. And the opening line is, "I think it must be lonely to be God," which honestly, if I ever write a book, would probably be epigraph of the book. Like, that's just such a good line. Yeah, I'll show you guys the beach outfit in a second. All right, so welcome to my room, but this is essentially what I'm wearing. These shorts and some Berkeys. The lighting's really bad and this is definitely crooked. Anyways,
he's the Starsky to my heart. I did lose you for 8 months.
hey, what's up? I am 51% of the way through with Sula. Don't really know how to say it. It's very interesting. So I expected the narrative to primarily focus on Sula and Nell's friendship as they're going through the years, but the writing is very much, it's like an omniscient third person narrator. So we are getting bits and pieces of different characters and how those impact Sula specifically, how Nell perceives Sula. So where I am now is that they are slightly older. Nell just got married, which is not a spoiler, it's in the description of the book. But I am very intrigued by Sula. She seems to be this very almost elusive character, and the people around her are a little afraid of her just because she has been involved, or like her character is questionable. Just like her moral character and her moral drive is questionable. I also want to read to you this beautiful quote on Sula and Nell's friendship and how they became friends. They had already made each other's acquaintance in the delirium of their noon dreams. They were solitary little girls whose loneliness was so profound it intoxicated them and sent them stumbling into technicolored visions that always included a presence, a someone who, quite like the dreamer, shared the delight of the dream. And so they bond on their shared loneliness, which seems to be a theme within books I've been reading recently. I just thought that description of friendship and shared loneliness was really beautiful because it's showing something that a singular person would experience. Like, we experience our own dreams, but that like Nell and Sula are either the interpreter or the dream itself, and they're like inhabiting the same shared experiences. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I just thought that description was very beautiful. I thought Sula would just be about female friendship, but to me it's about so much more. There's a lot of like class, race relations. It's just a lot of different themes. In the Gwendolyn Brooks selected poems, I have not read anything out of there since the last time I was on the vloggy, and that's that. It's also so hot right now. We're going through a heat wave and it's disgusting. The AC is off right now so I can film this section of the vlog, but I'm literally sweating. So I'm gonna go now to preserve my body temperature and not overheat. Hey, so I'm here to give a reading update for the vloggy. It has been a few days since I finished Sula, and I honestly had to sit with the story, which is what happens to me when I read like really complex, good literary fiction. I like to sit with it and not rush anything. The ending really highlighted the moral difference between Nell and Sula. Sula representing what is seemingly evil and bad, and Nell who is kind of like the model perfect wife. And there's something that happens between Nell and Sula that irreversibly damages their friendship, and we follow them from there. But this was so much more than just the like happenings of their friendship. This also talks a lot about race, class, as well as like feminism laced throughout here. Sula as a character definitely is outcast in her society, and she went away to college. She's just completely different than any of the townspeople, so she's very misunderstood. And because of that, the townspeople project a lot of their like superstitions, just things that they can't really make sense of onto Sula, and say that she's basically the source of all of the town's issues, which is very interesting. I was not expecting that. There's also very interesting mother-daughter dynamics happening throughout the story. There's just so many different layers to the story. I really enjoyed it. But I think the more that I sit and think about this one, the more it'll resonate with me. So that's that on that. A little quick wrap up. And these are the books that I'm kind of dabbling my toes in right now. So I spoke a bit about the selected poems of Gwendolyn Brooks. I'm like almost halfway through with this collection. I'm really taking my time with it. It's selected works, which I believe I told you. I think I'm having a little problem getting into the overall collection in general, just because I tend to read collections that are focusing on specific themes, whereas this one is taken from like bits and pieces all throughout her life. I have another poetry collection from Gwendolyn Brooks that is on my mind that I want to read, and maybe I will feel that as a whole more than I'm feeling this one. But one of my favorite poems that I have read recently is in here, and I cannot stop thinking about it. I might have already read it to you, but it's called The Preacher Ruminates Behind the Sermon. Just because I'm not like in love with this collection in its entirety doesn't mean that I just like it. I love the writing. That's not the problem. It's just certain poems aren't speaking to me the way others are, which is totally fine. Also winner of the Pulitzer Prize, and I have won nothing yet. So that's that. I'm also reading Letters to a Young Poet by Maria Rilke, German poet this is translated set of letters that he was writing in correspondence to a younger poet, hence the title, about why he writes, how to write, the importance of solitude in creation, the importance of really satisfying that hunger to be a writer and to have that hunger in the first place, which is what I'm gathering so far. I'm like only 20 pages in. I think I'm on the second or third letter so far, but I'm really enjoying it. A lot of people love this book, and this book is a part of my On Writing a Writer's TBR overall list of books that I have created as a curriculum for why I write. So many authors who have why I write essays, like George Orwell, Joan Didion. I believe Ernest Hemingway also has a book called On Writing, or Why I Write, or something like that. So I'm gathering as many of those as I can. There's also a Toni Morrison book on there that I want to read, but I'm actually going to do a separate video on my entire list of books that I have read already and that I'm planning to read that have helped me dig deep and really figure out why I write. And lastly, I'm thinking of reading Under So Briefly Gorgeous, just because I am in the middle of the year, or a little over the middle of the year, and I haven't found a book that made me feel like this yet this year. Like emotionally devastated, stunning writing, just quotes that I think of nonstop in my brain. So I want to reread this. I'm thinking of rereading it, but I'm not sure. I also feel like the overwhelming urge that I have so many other books that I want to read. Like, do I really want to spend my time and reread this? I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I did skim and like go to my favorite quotes and favorite sections yesterday, but I'm on the fence of rereading this. I don't know. I might not. I guess I'll do some like channel updates too. I also want to do a little shift more. Like before, when I first started my channel, I did primarily content focusing on celebrities and things like that, and music, which I still am going to do, but I also want to incorporate more vlogs. So that's just a heads up, because most people watch me for like my reading playlist series, which is a little on hold right now because I need to read more to get fresh recommendations, and then also to find books that pair well with musicians and like what music they're creating can take some time. I really like Steve Lacy's new album. That's what I've been listening to, specifically Give You the World. That song has me by the throat, and if I were ever cursed by Vecna, like just play that song for me and I will be back. It's just a channel update. I want to like kind of rediscover what kind of content I'm putting out into the world. I've been overthinking so much lately and just super conscious and aware of what I'm putting out. Let me know if you're open to that, if that's something you're interested in. I'm not totally killing off the reading playlist. That's primarily the content that you guys probably know me for, but I want to take a shift. You know, this is what happens. We grow and evolve. I've been doing YouTube for over 2 years now and just trying to figure out what's next. That's it. That concludes this vlog. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned in this video, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.
I was like, yo.